Hello! I don't know how to start these. I'm just going to hope that I get better at it, so bear with. Today is Monday the 12th of September and I am due to start my third and final year of illustration at uni in a week's time. It's currently 12:20. I went out with my friend for breakfast, which was really lovely because I haven't seen her for many months. Most people have been away for the last sort of 4 or 5 months, so it's really nice because everyone's starting to come back for uni. Today I am working on my current project with CLEAR, which is the trauma therapy organisation that's local to me, and I work with them as an illustrator. It's like a little collaboration with a group of children. We met with the children at the end of last month, and there was a writer, me and another illustrator, and we spent the day coming up with the storyline and how we would tell the story of this teddy bear and how he goes to therapy. Basically it is to help other young children know what therapy is about and what to expect. So we've come up with the storyline that day and we have it all written out. It's now my job to do the rest of the illustrations for the book. The children have already we did some drawings with them in the workshop day, so we have theirs to put in with the book as well because we want it to be a whole collaborative piece. It's not just my drawings, and it's really exciting because it's kind of the exact type of work that I would love to do, working with children, and especially with the therapy side of it. That's something I'm really passionate about and interested in, and showing emotions within my books is kind of my biggest passion. I find it really difficult to illustrate stories that aren't meaningful, or they're all meaningful but they don't have some deeper meaning. A lot of people prefer the silly kind of comedy ones, but I don't. I kind of need something to feel like I can create a character that people empathise with. So yesterday I was working on this as well, and I did some little bear illustration. On one of the pages he lists his superpowers from witnessing a traumatic event, and it's sort of obviously metaphorical, and it's sort of representing how he feels like he couldn't stop it from happening, and so they'll obviously not be on the page like this, but it's easy to then digitally cut them up and move them around the page. So that's him falling and losing his superpowers. And then I'm currently today working on a new spread which is introducing the third main character, which is Lola, who's a little girl who is his owner. She is the keeper of all soft toys, and she looks after our main character, who is Fred the teddy bear, and Susie, who is his best friend, the super sheep. So I'm currently trying to sketch it, and the idea will obviously be, as with everything, that I do a sketch layer, then I go over it with a light box, and then I paint the final thing. At the moment I don't like the sketch. I really struggle at the moment to draw faces in a way that I like. I can do them in a set way, but I don't like it at the end. I'm trying to change how I draw people, but that's turning out to be really difficult when you're so used to drawing them in the same way. So yeah, try to that will look different, but that is basically the thing. And as with the illustrations, we made sure that when we were doing them really roughly on the day, we wanted the children to like them because it's their book at the end of the day. So things like what her hair colour is, the fact that she has bows in her hair, they want her to have nail varnish of a certain colour and her bows will be a certain colour, and all this kind of thing was the children all had input. So yes, I'm painting them and drawing them, but things like his cape colour, what outfits he wears, things like that has all been decided by the children. I'm just putting it together. So it's really nice because also their drawings then match, because although obviously they're children, we've all got different styles of drawing and different abilities. but it's nice because there's always the common theme of continuity. They all look relatively the same. So I'm really excited. It's a really nice project. It's a short one because although it's a book, it's obviously not like it's not a big project that I'm being paid for, so I am just keeping it short, simple. The illustrations aren't that like detailed. I don't have big backgrounds or conceptual things, but it's something that I'm passionate about, and it would be really nice to have for myself as well as a little book that I can use, especially if I then do go down the art therapy route. It'd be really nice to have experience to show for trying to get onto a uni course. So that's what I'm doing today. I will film some of it and hopefully make this an interesting video if I can. Yeah, see you later. So this is the finished sketch. I am a lot happier with it than I was earlier. I've kind of fixed the face. There's probably things that I will change about it, and I need to properly work out the plaits, but other than that, it's finished. This will be the page, so they'll be writing here, and I now just need to trace over it onto my watercolour paper and start painting. Also, I really forget where to look because I'm looking at myself on the phone, but actually the camera part is there, so I feel like I'm not actually talking. Like I watch these back and I'm like, I'm not looking at the camera, but it feels really weird just looking at a dot and speaking, as in like looking at myself. So I will try and get better at that, but it's really off-putting. Like, hello. Anyway. I like to draw with a pink colour pencil because it means that it doesn't mix with the paint. If I use graphite, sometimes it'll kind of muddy the paint a bit. And also because it's pale, it means that I can go over and it won't show up easily, which is really useful. Now that the pink sketch is all drawn out, I can turn the light box off and remove the underlayer, and it's ready for painting. So for this project so far, I've been using a set colour palette. So I have the blue, I haven't really been using this because I haven't needed to yet, but for Fred's outfit I use this orange. He's not wearing an outfit in this one, so I probably won't need to use it, but I've got those to make a green for her ribbons, which the children want to be green. I've got the flesh colour for her skin, and then I've got my two other colours. So he is burnt umber, mixed obviously with various colours to create the different tones and hues. And so for instance, when he has bits of shadow, I don't like using black, so I'll use ultramarine to make a shadow, and then I've got white obviously to lighten any areas. But yeah, this is my colour palette. You'll notice throughout the painting process of this video that I go back to my paint palette a lot. It's because I don't like to use one flat colour, because when I layer all my materials I want there to be kind of a harmony in how they look on the page, and if I start with a really flat colour it's hard to try and make it look more artistic using just the colour pencils. So I find that by adding tiny changes of colour as I go along, like this, I'm adding little bits more of the red for the pink areas, or the brown for some shadow, or some of the yellow. It just makes it more harmonious with the final piece rather than one flat colour, which can make it, some people work really well with flat colour, but for me it looks too digital and I want it to have that kind of painterly feel. So I always try and create a bit of colour variation in all the areas that I paint in, which can mean that it takes a lot longer to paint it, especially with non-acrylic gouache, because you can't layer it as easily, so I tend to kind of do the colour variation as I go along rather than layering it on top of the previous layers, because I don't want to wet the layer underneath and reactivate it. So yes, it takes a bit longer, but I do like the effect that it comes out with, and it just means the whole piece looks a bit more cohesive. So it is currently 4:30. I took a lunch break, made some pasta and came back to it, and then I've finished the painting layer. It's a bit rough because it always is at this point. And then what I'll do is add my colour pencils, my wax pastels, and I probably won't use soft pastels for this one, to create the final piece. I'm going to take a break because I'm really tired. And I could feel my concentration slipping massively, and I don't obviously want to ruin it by pushing through it, so I'm going to take a quick break, maybe watch something and then come back and finish it. by this evening. So what I'm doing here is adding layers of coloured pencil and wax pastel. Over the time of my uni course so far, I've really loved playing around with different textures of materials and how they can interact with each other. I don't tend to use just one type of material for a piece. I love the kind of gritty texture that you can get with pencils and wax pastels, and although I could technically do this whole piece in paint, I like that it has a kind of more artistic kind of creative look, I guess, by putting in little textures here and there. And you'll notice, like on the sheep that I'm about to do, I like to put little swirls, and on the girls' clothing I'll do the same thing with the wax pastels, and it just adds a bit of interest and kind of draws your eye to different pieces of the painting, and I just really enjoy actually creating it that way. I think if I just did it in paint, although I'd be happy with it, I really enjoy the process of just playing around with materials, so that's how I create most of my pieces now. I think that might change a bit over third year. I'm getting really into using soft pastels and kind of having a bit more of a soft approach to my work, and it not being so perfect because I definitely put too much pressure on myself to make things look realistic. And I think for my next project at uni I want to create a story that is maybe more abstract and I can experiment a bit more with. Not that I don't like how I work right now, but sometimes I just wish that I could push myself a little bit more to try something a bit more freeing and not get too worried about the details. I have got better with it. I would have spent far too long on this piece before, doing like the creases of the clothing and all the different shadows and things like that, but really it doesn't need it, and sometimes it can just look overworked. So I was really happy with this piece and how it turned out, and I'm happy that I'm gradually being able to experiment a bit more with materials. So as you'll see with this part, I know that the writing is going to go here, so I don't want to put any particular detail on the bed, but I just felt like it was lacking something and didn't really resemble a duvet. The writing should be strong enough to go over these faint stars, so there shouldn't be an issue with this. But I just wanted to add a bit of detail so that it was a bit clearer, that she wasn't just holding up a sheet. Yeah, I think the stars just gave it a bit more of a children's bed feel to it, which is what I was going for. It's now 6:30. I've finished for the day. I've finished my illustration that I planned to do today, which I'm really happy about. It's very different, I think, to where I want my style to be going. I think it's a little too tight, but you know what? I'm happy with it. It's okay. Yeah, this is the final piece. The writing will be going here, which is why I left this pretty blank apart from some faint stars of her duvet. I left the top white because I think it needs space to breathe, and I think if I do it a colour it'll just, it's so busy that I don't want it to get too distracting. But yeah, so it's paint, it's gouache, colour pencil, wax pastel. Yeah, I'm pretty happy with it. So that will join the rest of my book pages to become part of the little narrative. So this was the sketch that I started with this morning and the finished thing. You can tell how tired I am because my eye bags just get more pronounced during the day. Ugh. I've just been staring intensely at a piece of paper. I am about to have a video call with my twin sister because we do that most evenings at the moment. So I look forward to that. Tomorrow I am picking up house keys with my new housemate from the estate agents and running a support group in the evening, so I'm quite busy tomorrow. I might just get a couple of small spot illustrations done, but it might just be like 1 or 2. I don't think I'll have the time to create anything big tomorrow, and then I'll be back to it on Wednesday. So yeah, I apologise if I'm really awkward at talking to camera because I haven't done this for many years. It doesn't come naturally. I'm hoping it will eventually, but I'm all kinds of anxious, so thank you if you got this far. Thank you for watching, and I will be posting another painting illustration video at some point soon. Bye!